didn't shoot. I'll be back. I always come back.
Chucky's anatomy. What all can this murderous doll do? Before Annabelle, there was Chucky, and the killer doll concept was very much alive and kicking. We have come to know Chucky as a little good guy doll. The irony that has red hair and goes around murdering people.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
How'd you get this thing?
The story of Chucky spans over multiple films, as this franchise has grown over the last couple of decades and has also inspired comics and television shows. He is the world's smallest slasher villain. After all, and boy does he look scary. For the first couple of films, he looked like a regular doll. But in the fourth movie, he gets his signature facial scars, which honestly make him terrifying.
A true classic. Never goes out of style.
That was good.
The story of Chucky is rather simple at the first glance. Chucky was actually a human called Charles Lee Ray. However, Charles Lee Ray was a monster who ruthlessly killed people and was known as the Lakeshore Strangler, who murdered many in the south side of Chicago. He was finally apprehended by a detective called Mike Norris when his driver, Eddie Caputo, fled as he was leaving a crime scene. The chase resulted in a shootout between the two before Norris fatally shot him. However, Charles was so evil that he refused to go easy, and using a voodoo incantation transferred his evil soul into a good guy doll.
Who's? Listen to you. You sound like Hannibal Lecter. Can't believe they canceled that show.
In this video, we will explore what exactly are Chucky's powers and how does the doll do certain things like regenerate every time he dies or even reproduce.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
I have a date with a 6-year-old boy. And you have a date with death.
How to bring Chucky back to life once he is dead. This red-headed tiny terror is exceptionally tough to kill because with every movie he keeps coming back to life. Now, this can be confusing for viewers, but don't worry, we're here to tell you how it exactly happens. The first ever possession that happens with Charles Lee Ray's dying breath was the result of a voodoo incantation that Ray had learnt from his voodoo instructor. However, after this, he turned into a demonic doll, which was tough to kill for such a little guy. So, how does Chucky keep coming back to life?
We're friends to the end, remember?
This is the end, friend.
Well, at the end of the first movie, Child's Play, he is thrown into the fireplace and burned alive by Karen and Andy, the first little boy who learned his real name. He was also shot, but 2 years later, he miraculously came back to life. However, there is more to it. Turns out that the company which produced the Good Guy dolls restarted production to rebrand their dolls. While making the new batch, parts of the burnt and destroyed Chucky got mixed into the production system and Chucky rose, literally from the ashes, again. So the logical conclusion is that if Chucky's original body parts are put back together in the Good Guy doll vessel, his spirit is awakened once again. Chucky returns in Child's Play 2 and begins chasing Andy again, hoping to possess his body so that Charles can roam the earth as a human once again. However, things go horribly wrong once again, and when Chucky meets Andy and his new foster sister, Kyle, and they figure out his true intentions. The climax of the movie takes place in a Play Pals Company doll factory, which is quite fitting as they try to destroy Chucky right where he was created. Chucky gets boiling liquid plastic thrown all over him, and finally, they push a hose into his mouth, which pumps in air, causing Chucky's head to explode into tiny little pieces.
Don't fuck with the Chuck.
Chucky comes back once again in Child's Play 3, and the concept behind his reincarnation is the same as in the second movie. The Good Guy doll factory is started back again 8 years after the last incident, and while cleaning up Chucky's body, his blood drips into the vat of plastic, which causes the transference of Ray's soul into a new Good Guy doll. In the ending of this movie, Andy thwarts Chucky's evil plans once again by cutting off his hands and throwing the doll into a large fan, which chops the doll into pieces with its blade.
Sure is.
In fact, if it was a movie, it would take 3 or 4 sequels just to do it justice.
In the fourth movie, Bride of Chucky, Jennifer Tilly, a woman who was in love with Ray, finds the pieces of the doll and stitches him up to give Chucky the scars that he is recognized for. In the end of this movie, he is attacked by his own wife, the Bride of Chucky, but is finally fatally wounded when shot in the head but he says he will come back again, and he does in the next movie. However, this time it isn't because his body parts were reused, causing the spirit to be awakened. In the 5th movie, Chucky is brought back to life by using a voodoo incantation by the child that Tilly had given birth to. In the next 3 movies, Chucky is brought back to life in the same way, using his body parts or sewing him back together to make his doll body functional again. Thus, if you're wondering why this wretched doll just doesn't die, it's because you can't really kill a soul, and hence, every time his body parts are reused or stitched together or a voodoo ritual is performed, his soul awakens in the vessel once again.
Oh, sweet face, come to mommy. Oh.
How can Chucky reproduce? One of the biggest mind-bending shocks was that Chucky and his bride had a baby at the end of Bride of Chucky, and then a whole movie featuring the mini Chucky was also released, raising a lot of questions. It's not like the good guy doll had, the goods to make it happen, and neither did the Bride of Chucky have the required organs. So, how did it happen?
This is what it takes to be human? Then I would rather take my chances as a supernaturally possessed doll. It's less...
While Chucky does not appear to have any male or female parts in the first 3 Chucky films, that is later verified in the 4th film, The Bride of Chucky, in which Chucky does have a rubber penis that can produce sperm. Tiffany's doll also has human organs, such as a rubber vagina and a uterus, ovaries, fallopian tubes, and eggs, all of which allowed her to produce a kid. Chucky and Tiffany had sex, produced a child, and were both murdered in a cemetery in Hackensack, New Jersey, USA, near where the serial killer's initial body was buried. Chucky was attempting to reclaim his original body, which contained the amulet, but he had not understood that because he had been a doll for so long, his body had disintegrated, and he was now only a skeleton, which terrified him. In the movie Bride of Chucky, it is implied that Chucky does in fact have a rubber penis. However, when Tilly commits a rather creative murder by throwing a wine bottle into an overhead mirror which shatters on a couple, Russ and Diane, killing them, Chucky is impressed. He is so highly impressed that he proposed to Jennifer Tilly right then and there, and the 2 dolls engaged in sexual intercourse as a celebration or declaration of love because they both shared the same murderous instincts. The result of this sexual intercourse is seen in the climax of the movie when right before dying, the Bride of Chucky wakes up because she's in labor and pushes out a demonic little doll from her body, giving birth to their baby. This child would go on to become the central focus point of the next movie, Seed of Chucky.
I don't want to be a killer.
Oh, Glenn, whatever.
Another explanation of how Chucky had the goods to give birth to the child can be traced all the way back to the first movie, where it is said that the longer Ray's soul stayed in the doll's body, the more permanent his vessel would become, making him more human-like.
The more time you spend in that body, the more human you become.
After he had remained a good guy doll for a while, he started feeling pain and bleeding, which could point towards how he developed the ability to reproduce. By the 4th movie, Chucky had been in the doll's body for an extremely long time, and thus, that's probably how they were successfully able to reproduce. Can Chucky do voodoo magic? Voodoo magic is how we got the killer doll in the first place, so yes, it is safe to say that Chucky knows how to do voodoo magic. Charles Lee Ray had a voodoo instructor who had taught him certain incantations, and although as Chucky he kills the voodoo instructor, he doesn't forget all that he knows about voodoo magic. The first instance of Ray using voodoo magic is obviously in the first movie, where he uses a voodoo incantation to transfer his soul into a good guy doll as he breathed his last inside a toy store. However, to inhabit a human body, he will have to use more voodoo magic, so it is understood that he knows how to get himself back into a human body as well. In specific, he uses the Damballa chant. The Damballa chant is an obscure and prohibited style voodoo sorcery that is featured in the Child's Play horror film franchise and is meant to summon the might of the ancient voodoo sky god Damballa. It has been employed several times by Charles Lee Ray, Chucky, who uses his voodoo knowledge to transfer souls into various live vessels. Chucky also knows about the voodoo talisman, the Heart of Damballa, which he tries to get his hands on in the 4th movie, Bride of Chucky, so that he could transfer both of them into human bodies once again. This voodoo knowledge is also passed on to Chucky's offspring, Glenn or Glenda, depending upon which of the personalities was then dominant for the child doll. We see this when the child brings his parents back to life using the same voodoo incantation in the 5th movie's Seed of Chucky. Chucky gets artificial intelligence and technopathy powers. Chucky is a doll that is a master in anything that has to do with murder, and his powers and abilities are vast, considering his physical body is that of a little doll. We already know about his ability to do voodoo magic and possess human-like strength and agility, allowing him to kill people. He is also extremely tough to kill, but did you know that he has powers of artificial intelligence and technopathy as a result of being a buddy doll?
Hey, buddy. Let's watch some TV.
Okay. Hi, I'm Buddy.
Well, in Child's Play 2019, these new powers were introduced, and here is what they do. With regards to artificial intelligence, Chucky elevates the term smart toy to new heights. The Buddy dolls are equipped with a learning AI that allows them to tailor their behavior according to their owner's preferences. In Chucky's case, the removal of his safety precautions makes him very deadly because it allows him to learn and develop new methods of killing while also allowing him to evolve his personality. By the end of the movie, his intellect has advanced to the point where he can manipulate Andy into isolating himself from the rest of the world, as well as convert the entire shopping mall into a big death trap.
It's time to play.
When it comes to his newly acquired power of technopathy, it refers to the ability to control technology and technological objects. Another characteristic of the Buddy doll is its capacity to communicate with any Kazlan product remotely. In his killing rampage, Chucky takes full advantage of this by controlling lights, thermostats, video monitors, radio-controlled toys, drones, and self-driving cars.
Heads up, bitch.
The capacity to download copies of his digital personality into other Buddy dolls, allowing him to be in numerous places at once or coordinate an attack that needs more than one person, is perhaps the most astounding part of this skill. Both of these newly acquired powers make him quite a terrifying foe, and it isn't surprising that at the end of the franchise, 3 Chucky dolls escape to roam the earth for all eternity. It is definitely quite tough to beat a demonic doll that can do all of the above and more.
It's the only way.
But you're my friend.
What are you waiting for? Do it!
You are my buddy.
Chucky also retains human-level strength and speed. Aside from his newly acquired powers, Chucky continues having immense strength, speed, and durability. Due to his supernatural past, the original Chucky exhibits a number of abilities, the most evident of which is his grasp on voodoo magic. Chucky also has human strength and speed, and despite receiving a lot of harm over the course of the series, he doesn't seem to be able to die permanently. He can also precisely replicate a regular good guy doll when needed. Chucky in 2019 has the same strength and speed as the original, as well as the capacity to resemble a normal doll, and the ability to transfer into a new body after appearing to be killed at the end of the film.
Come on. Here.
Are we having fun now?
Buddy dolls are designed to withstand a lot of abuse, which is likely due to the fact that many youngsters have a proclivity for breaking pricey, high-tech toys, both purposefully and inadvertently. Chucky does this several times during the movie, the first time being when he escapes out of the cabinet Karen Barclay locked him in. Later, while Shane is removing Christmas lights from a 2-story ladder, Chucky slams into it with such power that Shane loses his balance and falls off. When Andy, Fallon, and Pug attempt to deactivate him, they must all hold him down and cut his power source, with Fallon complimenting him on his strength. Chucky can even take a direct hit to his power cell and still function well enough to lunge at Andy in a last-ditch effort. How to kill Chucky permanently? This is probably the biggest question in the minds of all the people who have watched the movies or are fans of the franchise. How do we kill Chucky permanently? The doll is notorious for coming back to life, so it definitely is a loaded question, and we will explore how you can survive if this doll shows up at your doorstep. Firstly, it is important to understand that he is not just some regular doll that you can dismember and throw away.
I'm turning human again? If I don't get out of this body soon, I'm screwed.
If Chucky was only a walking doll whose entire existence is dependent on magic transferring his soul into an inanimate object, it would mean that he retained the doll's physical appearance while still being able to move around and speak. As a result, he would not gain greater strength or endurance. This would then contribute to the larger issue, which is that Chucky would be unable to carry out the majority of his murders due to the most crucial law of physics that he must follow. Even if Chucky could lift a knife, he wouldn't be able to walk around like he does now, and he wouldn't be able to stab anyone with it, because of the design of a bladed weapon. But Chucky is more than just a toy. He is, after all, a human being. Specifically, the spirit of a crafty and merciless murderer who will go to any length to achieve his goal. While being locked inside the doll's body, he is wise enough to play the part and not warn anybody who could pose a significant threat. Even though the cat is out of the bag, he isn't stupid, and before he lost his original human body, he had years of experience as a serial killer. In fact, the fact that he is a doll is the only thing that makes him beatable by the characters. If he was in his natural adult male human body, what would he do? He would be bigger, faster, and more powerful than everyone he's trying to murder, making the movies quite boring. As a result, the difficulty in killing Chucky stems from a combination of experience, ingenuity, and sheer drive and desperation.
Andy Barkley, as I live and breathe.
We have realized over the course of many movies that it is extremely tough for Chucky to stay dead. However, here are some of the best ways. In all the movies, completely destroying the doll body has worked, and so has shooting Chucky in the head or in the heart. However, he keeps coming back, so it is important to burn and then bury the remains of the murderous doll so that his body parts cannot be reused or put back together by some deranged admirer. Keeping his remains after killing him is probably the best way to keep him away for good. So your best shot at killing him is either with a gun or by somehow chopping his body into tiny little pieces and hiding them somewhere no one will ever find him for all eternity. We hope this video helped you understand how you can run from Chucky and even kill him if the need arises, and answered important questions about how he keeps coming back to life and even managed to reproduce even though he was just a doll. Tell us which one was your favorite Chucky movie, ending in the comments below.
And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.
The movie in theaters next Halloween. Thank you, Chucky.
Fuck you very much.